Well, ladies and gentlemen, today we're here to take a look at Star Wars Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight, the remake. Oh, Jedi Knight 2 is one of those games that it's an experience. You had the 3D graphics in the late 90s, and of course, live-action cutscenes. And now we finally have a bit of a remake here. Now, it's only 2 levels at this point. There are like graphics mods for the original game, but they only make it look halfway decent. You kind of just got to go with the original graphics because, well, they fit with the overall aesthetic. So let's get into the remake, which goes to show you a lot of these old games with the new coat of paint are better than pretty much anything modern. So anyway, alrighty then. Oh god, it's gonna be the mask. Also, I love we've got the Nintendo sound effect there. So this is some excellent work right here. I mean, I am just absolutely impressed by how good this bloody game looks. So the game itself was already great to begin with. I mean, if you've never seen Jedi Knight, prepare to be just completely blown away by these live-action cutscenes. So with that, let's jump in. And yes, they are running at 60 FPS. And yes, I am going to get demonetized. Because you got that bloody Star Wars music blasting. These have to have been AI upscaled. Because they look a lot better than they did originally. Hey, it's a Rekuskin.
I want you to remember, son, when you're at the academy, how very proud I am of you. What a fine young man you've become. I wish your mother were here to see it. But I know she watches over you and is proud. After she died, your welfare and upbringing were the only thing I truly cared about.
Touching. When someone desires information, they come to me.
Don't waste my time, 88. Tell me who killed my father.
Patience. He is a dark Jedi.
Jedi?
Dark Jedi. He is known as Jarek, and he has great plans for the rebirth of the Empire.
I'm not interested in petty political struggles.
Well, you should be. Without going into too much detail, Jarek has been quite generous in his offerings. Unfortunately, you don't factor into them. But I am not without a heart. Familiar, yes? I found it in your dead father's home. I can decipher any language or code known, but this one eludes me. It must be important. Tell me what it is, and these gentlemen won't have to indulge their darker side.
The dark side? I've been there. Do your worst.
Well, I suppose that concludes our business.
I'm not interested in leaving. I have some business to conclude with your friend, 88.
Okay, there was more character, more action, more awesomeness in that couple of minutes than pretty much in all of Disney Star Wars. And this was 1997, ladies and gentlemen. 1997. And also, the dude playing Kyle Katarn looks awfully a lot like, also, I hate, oh, damn it, it's not working. Ah, well, no control for me, I guess. Looks a lot like Jonathan Frakes, just saying. I mean, like, without the beard, he looks even more like Jonathan Frakes. So, yeah, what we have here is what can safely be called a masterpiece. Also, I hate that fucking motion blur garbage. And I feel very bad.
You always cause trouble.
I feel very bad for the guys who had to wear that mask, because as a cosplayer myself... Okay, I forgot how to crouch in this game. I'm not used to using the using the keyboard and mouse, but look at it! Look how good it looks! Look at this! It's beautiful! It's like, modern day Star Wars games don't even come close to this. I know there's a guy up there, at least there should be, but yeah, well, whatever. So yeah, the one problem with like Kyle Katarn is simply the fact that he has this energy shield. Where did only he has it. Only he is awesome enough to have it. And I gotta tell you, that right there, the guys jumping between the fan blades, that was like one of the coolest things ever back then, because you just didn't expect it. So like, you know, back in the late 90s, you know, I didn't care about Half-Life. I didn't care about any of that, because I never liked Half-Life then nor now. This was the beardy man I liked. It's just the thing, it's like, I guess people just don't like Star Wars. No, people don't like bad Star Wars. I mean, let's face facts. Would this game have been improved if we had, Jack Black and Rizzo? I mean, believe me, I love Jack Black, but unless Jack Black is playing, Warlord Zinj and, Kyle Gass is playing Melvar, I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him. Can you imagine Kyle Gass as, General Melvar? It's like he has these giant fingernail extensions. Only real Star Wars fans know what I'm talking about. All the lamos don't. I'll check the chat after I've killed a few more Gran. Pretty much you only shoot Gran and Rhodians in this one level, but look how good it is. It's like, come on, if Disney was smart, they would just do this to some of these games, just a graphical updating, and that's it. And it would sell. They would print money. They would print money, but they're afraid of it. Or perhaps it's more along the lines of hashtag abolish profit, right? Well, abolish profit for anyone else but them. So pretty much you got just the E11 blaster rifle. Now, the magazine's curved, which is kind of neat, but there's really no reason for it to be curved because it's not shooting bullets. A magazine needs to be curved for, like, the feed geometry in real life, but whatever. E11's pretty cool. I have to admit, though, that even though I'm not a big fan of the prequels, I do rather like the, DC-15 carbine. I actually have a model of that, and it's pretty nice, I gotta say. It's one of those things I would not mind playing this in VR, because that'd be kind of neat, I think. Come on, open the fucking door! There we go. But look at that! Look how beautiful this goddamn game is! And I almost fell off a cliff. Okay, let's save. I'll check the chat real quick. And hello, Iron Cheek. Everything's pretty good. And I'm doing pretty good, Monsoon. Actually went to the old Walmarts today and picked up an X-Wing Lego! I hate giving Disney any money, but, Lizzo would have made a great Jabba. Yeah, I can agree with that. I hate giving Disney any money, but, well, I'm a sucker for the X-Wing Starfighter. I mean, it's basically a space Spitfire, even though its endurance is much greater than the Spitfire would have been. I mean, really, the equivalent to... The real equivalent to the X-Wing would be the P-51 Mustang, but it does more closely resemble the old Spitfire than one would think. And we could go down there, but there's really no reason to do so, because... we could try to jump in there and grab some extra shit, but we're not going to do that either. But yeah, this is back when games were real, when they were real experiences. You know, it's not a matter of nostalgia, it's just like, compare this to, you know, what modern day first-person shooter comes close to this? I mean, like, what is the modern equivalent to this? Okay, so what you gotta do here is you gotta run. Because this is gonna come down here, but only for like a second. So it's kind of easy to get a little confused, because, like, you hit that switch, and it's hard to tell, like, what just happened. I mean, just look at the size of this level. Also, I love how that thing just kind of levitated there. Now, in Jedi Knight, you don't start out with force powers. I think it's not until, like, halfway into the game that you even get them. And, that part of the game hasn't been remade yet. We've only got this level, and Nar Shaddaa is much longer than what we're going to be playing here. We only get this level and the first duel, which I don't think it's actually finished yet. I mean, you can kind of swing your lightsaber around, but I was never able to kill Yun. But this came from a very special time in Star Wars. As much as I like the Mandalorians, Hell, I've got 2 fucking Mandalorian suits. Also, Spaceballs the cameo. Spaceballs. Now that is a classic comedy, but as much as I love the Mandalorians, and without the prequels, I don't think the Mandalorians would be quite as popular as they are today. I'm not sure if the prequels were a good idea, even with the Mandos, because when you go back to a time before the prequels, things were just so much better, in my opinion. You know, it's like, when they expanded on the Jedi in the way that they did, it just didn't really work. I mean, the whole Jedi attachment bullshit, you know, my fan theory on that is, it was actually some Falzinos that imposed that, because they had a different, psychology than humans. And so it's like, well, that applies to everybody. We're all Jedi, right? It's like, well, wouldn't that, like, make people go insane because they need more than just aesthetic living? Now, one thing I do have to point out is, the Jedi weren't all bad. Also, that box is totally from, Shadows of the Empire. Ooh, let's grab that health. I don't think we need any health. No, we're doing good. It's totally from Shadows of the Empire. Yeah, I recognize the box. What of it? I'm a fucking nerd. But yeah, like, they did eventually... The Jedi did eventually free... I think I got messaged on something, but whatever. I'll check it later. Shmi Skywalker did eventually get freed by the Jedi. A Jedi showed up and bought her freedom, but didn't, like, tell Anakin because, like, Anakin Skywalker had an interesting kind of like multiple choice backstory. Sometimes he's somewhat normal, other times he's, you know, a nut. Because like in the Jax Pavin series, which is the Coruscant Night series, he's like, oh yeah, Anakin, he was like borderline personality disorder. It's like, when did this happen? I mean, the dude just didn't like sand. I think really though, the big problem with Anakin's characterization, this seems very unsafe. Oh my god, it's a TIE bomber! I think Kyle just got irradiated there, but thankfully he's got force healing. There's actually a new Lego TIE bomber out, and it's pretty nice, but I wasn't gonna pay 60 bucks for that. But let's see, what was I? Oh yeah, Anakin, like, you know, having him take out the Tuskens seems a bit much. Because, like, that's totally... He's getting his yellow eyes at that point. If they had him, like, kill a Tusken in cold blood or something, I think that would have made a little bit more sense. But that's George for you. George Lucas was a menace. An even bigger menace than Kathleen Kennedy. You bastard. I like how, like, I can get shot, and the shield will take it, but I get punched in the face by a Grand, and I'm, like, half dead already. At least it's not a Rodian. At least I didn't get beat up by a Rodian. I do like how we finally have a scope, and it makes this rifle a whole lot better. As someone who is going to be cosplaying as a Stormtrooper, like, next week, I can see why they can't hit anything, because those fucking Stormtrooper costumes... I would assume the armor would fit better, but, like, Stormtrooper costumes, it's hard to move in that bloody thing. It's hard to see, it's hard to breathe, you know... So, like, actually being able to fight in it, not an easy prospect. Now, sadly, most of this video is not going to be, it's not gonna be... Oh, watch out, you fucking civilian. Why are you even standing there, asshole? It's not actually gonna be Jedi Knight, because we're almost done with this level. Okay, so, this is another part where it can kind of get confusing. Oh, shut up, Stephen Blum. Nobody likes you. Okay, so we've got to open up those doors, and so you hit that switch, but you gotta move just fast enough to get through. And it's very easy to not know to do that. Oh, crap! Don't want to get crushed. Alright, I'll check the chat real quick. Some of the best level design, in my opinion. Review of the game. Oh, that's how you found the channel. Awesome. That is an old review. Like, that is, like, from, like, over 10 years ago. Back when I was using Dark XL. Ghost of Tsushima. I think that's only on PS4, and I have absolutely no reason to get a console. You know, 50 bucks. That's not too bad. I actually have a TIE Fighter, but it's in a box, because I have no real room for it. The Superstar Destroyer 40th anniversary. I got a Chinese bootleg of a Superstar Destroyer, like 3,000 pieces. I have absolutely no room for it, but I got it. Because one day I will. Let's see. It's just that George Lucas doesn't need to have... Yeah, George Lucas needs to be kept away, far away from creative control. I cannot like consent. Kojima. You know, I never played a single Kojima game. You see, Jason Voorhees, I can see that with having a mask on. Anything that has something on your head is not easy. You know, I could definitely agree that Jedi Academy is probably the best of the Dark Forces games, just because it really got the gameplay down just right. Although, since I'm a big fan of Kyle Katarn, Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast is going to be my favorite. Because I like playing as him. With this one being my third favorite. Because this game, it's a little hard to get running these days. But if they get the Ryan Milk, I wonder if that's like one of the developer's friends. Or it could be the developer himself, because I don't know who did it. But, let's see, where was I? Yeah, the prequels just changed so much, and the emphasis went from the original trilogy characters that everybody loved to the Clone Wars, and I just, my mood changes on the prequels as time goes on. Like, sometimes I like them, sometimes I don't. It just depends on what kind of mood I'm in that day. Right now I'm reading a fanfic set during the prequel times, but following a Mandalorian bounty hunter, and holy shit is it good. The name of it is In Mandoa. I think I got hit by the door. Wow. Kyle Katarn, killed by a door. Like, the name's In Mandoa. Okay, we gotta let the cutscene.
Leaving so soon?
Whenever I need to find you, you're always in some kind of trouble.
Jan, what a pleasant surprise!
What would you do without me, Kyle?
I'd be a content old man.
Somehow I don't see content or an old man. So much for the relaxing chat.
Jan, meet me at the top. I've got to get that disc.
And sadly, that's all there is. Except for the duel. But it's like, holy crap. Going back to this game, man. Going back to this game. It's like, oh, it's beautiful. I mean, that was real Star Wars. There's more character in that one scene than pretty much all of Mando Season 3. I mean, Jan... And once again, there's no women in gaming. Jan Orr's 1997. Also, that was one of my early waifus as well, because holy shit was that girl cute. In the book, when she's first introduced...
Dark Jedi, the newest addition to the cause.
And he's got male pattern baldness, no wonder he's so mad.
Brash and eager, he is ready to prove himself to his master at any cost. These elements make him a dangerous and unpredictable foe.
You are quite a sticky enemy.
Okay, so it's kind of hard to defeat him because I don't think you have any Jedi powers. I'm sure there's probably a way to defeat him, but I haven't figured it out yet. So we're just gonna like try to cut him up a little bit, and then we're gonna move on to the Quake 2 remake for the rest of the video, because there wasn't that much here yet. But I just wanted to do a stream on this really bad once I finally got a chance to play it. So this is from a time before the Sith, known for their individuality, decided to all get, well, uniform lightsabers. Yep, there we go. Dead. That's one thing I love about these lightsaber duels. This is very much trying to evoke the dueling from Jedi Academy. But yeah, the Sith at this time would use differently colored lightsabers. That's pretty much what's gonna happen here. I don't think you can actually kill him. And then once the prequels came along, it's like everybody's gotta have a uniform red lightsaber. Yeah, it's just gonna be me dying over and over again. Cause like, you don't really have any force powers as far as I can tell. Yeah, I don't have IR goggles, not that that would really help. Might actually try here. Now, in the original game, you did have a third-person element to it. And it worked, kind of. Love how Jedi Mind Trick, all it does is, that. Those lightsabers hurt. And so that's the Jedi Knight 2 remake. It's short, it's sweet, and I'm really looking forward to more work being done on it. I mean, this is one of the best Star Wars games, but that's kind of true of any Star Wars game, isn't it? Because, like, pretty much all the Star Wars games are great. A blue Twi'lek. Pretty much everybody's waifu's gonna be a blue Twi'lek. Okay, let me change the controller configuration here. And we're gonna jump into the Quake 2 remake. Because, well, I figured, why not do some remakes? Quake 2. I'm gonna do a full, live stream on this one day. So that's why we're gonna skip the, cutscene. Now, Quake 2 is, like, my favorite first-person shooter of all time. I think it is. My first-person shooter love kind of changes as time goes on. Sometimes, like, Doom 3 is my favorite FPS. Sometimes it's this one. It vies for supremacy. But I mean, oh my god, look how good this looks! And I think Quake 2 came out the same year as Jedi Knight 2. Now, I will say, the Quake 2 soundtrack is my favorite video game soundtrack of all time. Like, holy crap. Just listen to that. I remember I felt like such a hacker when I was able to rip the CD onto, well, I totally just died there. Oh, yeah. This is Quake 2 XP. There's a bug I keep getting where if you die, the whole game crashes. You can actually kind of game the system, so to speak, by quick saving and quick loading before, like, it's the second you die, you hit the quick load key and you're fine. I don't know what that is. Haven't figured out what the problem is yet. But that's remake mods, you know, they can be a little squirrely now and again. But it's like the late 90s, early 2000s, like these were the best games of all time. This was before, you know, everything had to be corporatized and stuff like that. And it's not like I just live on nostalgia, you know, it's more along the lines of what modern game is as good as Quake 2 here. Maybe Dusk? Maybe? Dusk does come close. This blaster here is annoying. But then again, it's always been supposed to be annoying. There we go. Really? I just practiced this before the stream and now I'm like dying every 5 feet. Whatever. Once I get the shotgun, it doesn't really matter. Alright, let's try this again, shall we? My favorite game of all time, and I'm dying every 5 feet. Ah, well, that should be expected. But, you know, I'm not really blinded by nostalgia. It's just, what is a good equivalent to a lot of these games? Like, what is the Dark Forces equivalent? I guess Jedi Survivor? Maybe? But I just don't know if Cal Kestis really has the overall charisma of Kyle Katarn. I think I didn't finish the thought earlier. Jan Ors, when she's introduced in the Dark Forces novelization, she actually has orders to shoot Kyle Katarn if he proves to be a traitor. There we go, finally. Which I always thought was pretty dark, but pretty neat. The Dark Forces novelizations are really hard to find, and not only that, I'll check the chat real quick. Are not only kind of hard to find, but they're also just weird. because they have like illustrations in them and everything. And yes, Ahsoka is better in many respects than Rey, but Ahsoka still is definitely a waifu. And yeah, I will be revisiting that Jedi Knight 2 remake as soon as it's finally done. Duels in Fallen Order are legitimately amazing. You know, I gotta give Fallen Order a try at some point. The Clone Wars shows, I just don't know. I might or might not. May have made the soundtrack for Quake 2. I still lift weights to this soundtrack, even to this very day. Because, like, this is some of the best music, like, of all time for stuff like that. Because, good God, is it good. And this is just the first track. The thing about, like, id Software at this point is it was all about just keep the player engaged in shooting enemies. Make it really visceral. Get all the bullshit out of the way. Oh, I've got 1 health. Ooh, let's do it. Let's do it. That is not what I wanted to do. Is F6? There we go, that's quick save. Not sure why it's saving it as a JPEG, but cool, I guess. I don't know why that saved that as a JPEG. That is very odd. But yeah, id Software was just about, was very much into getting rid of, like, everything that was in the way of actual playing the game. And this was the kind of game that I grew up on back in the day. I remember playing Quake 2 for the first time on a compact laptop. Now, the kind of crazy thing about the compact laptop is I saw the receipt a number of years ago for how much that laptop cost. That thing was 10 grand. Computers and shit like that used to be way more. F9! Ooh, did I do it in time? I don't think so. No, it crashed again. Really, if you hit F9 just in time, you can totally do it. Crew Lord. Oh yeah, Unreal. You know, like, Unreal was a game I did not play back then either. Like, I don't think I would have had the patience for Unreal. I barely had the patience for, Oh yeah, if you try to load the game, it'll also crash as well. I'm not sure why it's doing that either. But you can still quick load. Somehow. I don't know why. It's sort of a hack or a cheat, but yeah, like, Unreal was not a game I really cared for back then. I liked it when I played it about a decade ago. God, that makes me feel old. I liked it when I played it a decade ago. Oh, you don't get music when you quick load for some reason. But it kind of just does its own thing. Another weird thing I played Quake 2 on was a Nintendo DS. Because I had I still do have it. But I used to play this on the Nintendo DS, which, you know, first-person shooters aren't that bad on that system. Surprisingly enough, because you've got the touchpad, and it works well as like a pseudo mouse sort of thing. There we go. It was like I was playing this literally 5 minutes before the stream, and this ran pretty okay on a DS. You had to have the GBA RAM expansion, but it worked. Really, playing this game with a controller is not really how it was designed. But I mean, it works well enough. It works if your fingers are tired, let's just put it that way. Now, one thing that's kind of neat about Quake 2, and something I really enjoyed as a kid, is flies! It's like, that blew my mind back then. It's like, oh my god, the game's reacting to the bodies! Because consider, if you will, 1993 is when Doom 1 came out, and like, you compare Doom 1 to this is like a massive paradigm shift in terms of graphics and overall game complexity. Like, even the music, like CD quality audio, things changed fast back then. Like, that's not just nostalgia or childlike wonder going, it's what happened. Also, this track is fucking sick. This is one of these games that when I want to turn my brain off, you just jump into this and shoot bastards like that. and you know, you just rock out to the tunes. And I've listened to this soundtrack, I think, for almost 20 years now. Maybe it has been 20 years, I don't know. Now, weirdly enough, we never really got much Quake 2 expanded media. Like, we didn't get a book. Quake 2 had made a great book. The guy we're playing right now is named Bitterman. Now, there was a fan animated series that tried to expand on the Doom extended universe called Doom Arenas. I got a review up on the channel, and Bitterman was like supposed to be like this traitor character. It's kind of sad. We don't really get shit like that much anymore. See, before there was Doomslayer, there was just a regular Doom guy, and he was kind of like the Doomslayer to a certain extent. This is years before Doom 2016 even came out. In the Doom Arena series, like, he got changed by the Soul Cube and could do like random superhero crap. It was great. Doom Arenas, it's like I think it's like an hour-and-a-half movie. It is literally the best Doom movie there ever was and ever will be. Yeah, going back to the Stormtrooper costume though, I'm gonna be wearing that next Sunday, and I can't move in it, I can't see in it, I can barely breathe in it, but goddamn is it gonna look good. I mean, that's one of those things, you know, Stormtroopers, it's actually a Sith Trooper, which I think, despite Rise of Skywalker being a shit movie, the Sith Trooper looked fucking awesome. As is this song. So we're about to find a secret level where you can get the super shotgun. It's like a whole level is devoted to just finding a double-barreled pump-action shotgun. It's like, this is when you can have fun. This is when, you know, I love story. Story is very important, but at the same time, sometimes you just need to cut loose and devote an entire level to a shotgun. This is also where we're going to be introduced to those little flying bastards that are very difficult to kill when you're using the arrow controls. Because going from back in the day, that's pretty much all you had. WSAND was like the fever dream of a madman. Okay, I'll check the chat real quick. Ashoka is my wife. Oh my. Lana and Sabine. I know who those people are, but I'm not really sure who the characters are. And yeah, boomer shooters. Well, there is Dusk. But yeah, it's hard to find too many of those. Bloom. I have not played Bloom, but it sounds pretty good. You can't do keyboard and mouse. The only reason I don't do keyboard and mouse anymore is actually, wait, am I not getting any hold on. Is that not streaming the thing? It should be. Hold on. Oh, there it is. Okay, good. I was kind of worried about that. Okay, there we go. Thought I lost the video stream there for a moment, but let's see, what did that say? Yeah, I used to do keyboard and mouse all the time. I thought using a controller was heretical. But when it comes to that, though, since I use my hands every day at work, well, doing keyboard and mouse gives me a lot of bad hand pain, so. But yeah, let's see, where was I? The DP-12, you know, I gotta shoot one of those one day. But yeah, the super shotgun must have had some sort of influence on that, because it does look remarkably like that. Also, this song also is fucking awesome too. Sith and the Mandalorians. I actually want the Mandalorians to be the good guys, because like, when you read the Republic Commando series, the Mandalorians sound like they should be better than they actually are. I mean, obviously there's going to be bad Mandalorians, because there's bad people in any society. I mean, just look at our society today. Well, I'm glad you're able to make it, RD Devils. I'm just sad there wasn't more, who's shooting at me? Oh, they're up there, I see them. I'm just sorry that, Jedi Knight 2, didn't last any longer than it did. Because all that game needed was a new coat of paint. And it's, you know, pretty much better than anything modern, that's for sure. I mean, Quake 2 here just needed a new coat of paint, and, like, this is already as modern as you could possibly want. And, Quake 2 RTX is, something I didn't really care about. I mean, I've seen it, but I haven't tried to get it running or anything, because it's like, meh. This is one of those meh sort of things, like, my graphics card is, capable of RTX, but, eh. If I'm not mistaken, it looked pretty much like it would normally. But pretty much every classic FPS has gotten a, remake of sorts. Even, Return to Castle Wolfenstein, which I have live streamed, in the past. Although I might live stream it again, because I don't think I actually finished it. The Marlin 1895 SBL in 4570. That is a good rifle. I think Ruger makes them now, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty much the only thing that had any character at all in Jurassic World was that bloody rifle, which Chris Pratt never even used. Of course, one of the great things about this machine gun is, unlike just about every machine gun prior to this, it actually has recoil, which is pretty neat. Back when I was using the turret controls, I would set the, I would do like page down, and I'd be looking at the floor and just walk up the shots. Obsolete today, but whatever. These little flying bastards are like the worst enemy in the game. Source ports for Quake 2. Well, you almost don't even really need a source port for Quake 2, because it kind of runs natively even now. You've got Quake 2 XP here. You've also got like Quake 1.9 or something. Lets you have increased screen resolutions and stuff like that. But weirdly enough, you can still just run Quake 2 from the original executable. All the Jurassic movies this summer. Oh yeah, Jurassic Park, you know, that was one of those things that was kind of one and done. I mean, seriously, like, the dinosaurs attack, and they kill, like, everybody, and then that's it? You blow up the dinosaurs with a helicopter and you're done? It's just one of those things where they got some extra mileage out of it in the movies, but in the books, it's like, after Lost World, there wasn't really much left. That's the sad part about dinosaurs. It's like, unless you can find some way for, like, dinosaurs to time travel into the future, it doesn't make sense to keep, you know, genetically engineering dinosaurs and just letting them roam free. So there's only so much you can do with that. As bad as the Lost World movie was, I will say it's better than the book, because you have that Godzilla-ish thing go on, where the T-Rex escapes. Although, sadly, like, the T-Rex is so easily, like, taken down. Like, you drive a fucking Abrams tank, you just blast it once with a 105mm shell, it will no longer be alive. Power up in this level like a shield generator. I think there was probably a shield generator, but I didn't bother trying to find it. Okay, this is the real worst enemy in the game. When they, try to eat you... I mean, never mind. When they, give you some tongue action there. Because they hurt, and they take a shit ton of damage. I'm probably gonna die. Oh, I didn't. Printing of Michael Crichton's Lost World. Awesome. I've got the book as well. I've got it both in paperback and hardback form. But really, you know, Jurassic Park 1, I think, is a quintessential novel that has stayed the test of time. Even if it really makes me feel very old. Okay, this bastard's probably gonna blast me. It's like the reason the dinosaurs were able to escape was because of CPU cycles. Those cray supercomputers, they had to like just... They couldn't keep calculating how many dinosaurs were out there. F9! See, if you catch it in time, it will not crash. But you have to catch it just in time. Otherwise, yeah, Crash City. Crash Bandicoot. That's a game I reviewed a long time ago and kind of like. Although for me, god damn it. Although for me, I'm still a giant fan of Super Mario. Oh, god damn it. He was able to escape. I'm still a massive fan of SMB 64. That is one of the few early 3D games that can really hold up. Froginators. Is overall a better read. Yeah, it can get pretty sloggy, that's for sure. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, Ian Malcolm wasn't considered like this awesome guy in the first book. He was just kind of this. I think he was supposed to be like British or something, like an annoying British guy. You wouldn't think him to be like, you know, Jeff Goldblum. And when Jeff Goldblum made him super popular, they had to bring him back to life. Let's never forget that all of life is a crystal. Truly a classic quote if ever there was one. The thing I always found funny about Jurassic Park is everybody saying how bad of an idea it was. It's like, to the point where it's like, you shouldn't clone dinosaurs because it's the bad for some reason. And it's like, well, how about instead of saying how bad it is, like, why not, you know, give some solutions for keeping giant, you know, not really reptiles, but keeping giant beasts locked up at least. You know, maybe have like some shock collars on them or something. Really, he does come off very preachy. Resident Evil game, zombies. Resident Evil. Okay, so if you come in here, you can get blowed up pretty easily. But if you're smart, you charge over here. You get in front of him, because he can't do anything. And you shoot him in the back. And then he can't blow that up. As a big fan of sci-fi, it's just like this kind of level design really just speaks to me. I don't really care for like the more horror-themed levels in Quake 1. Oh crap. Out of shotgun. Ooh, I was so close to hitting F9. Resident Evil Code Veronica. Oh god, that game is so hard. Code Veronica is like impossible. I guess I could at some point, but it is rough trying to beat that game. I don't think I ever finished it. I think you get started with like a knife. I think. It's been a long time since I played. I think you get like a knife and a lighter. And for me, I like a little quicker start than that. Now, Resident Evil 3... Oh, crap. I didn't mean to throw a grenade. Whatever. Blow him up. Oh, I got one. Wow, I just got a bunch of robo-meat shot at my face. Oh, my. Now, I will be streaming the Warhammer 40k game Bolt Gun, because that looks pretty good, but my only problem is that's got 2D graphics. Could we not have, like, older 3D or something? I mean, 2D is great and all, but I kind of like 3D. Like, the 3Ds just look so much better than 2D most of the time. I mean, here's my thing. I'd like it if Bolt Gun had the graphics of, like, maybe 2005? Something like that. You know, I could live with that, but, like... I would like something a little more modern. It doesn't have to be that. This guy's a bastard too, because he shoots grenades and has a machine gun. Alright, and let's link up for some more, for some Beavis and Butthead. Because we've got satellite TV. As a kid, I was much too poor to have satellite TV. And when I finally got access to cable at like age 11, I never was a big fan of the Beavis and Butthead. Instead, I was much more, as you would expect, excited to get access to the History Channel. Okay, I think we're about to piss off the ATF because, if I'm not mistaken, get out of the lava. That's not lava, that's poison. No, that's just adrenaline. Damn, I thought that was the silencer. Or, excuse me, a suppressor. I like how adrenaline evidently is so precious that, you've got an acid trap. That, keeps those filthy humies from getting access to it. This is back when, like, computers were, like, the greatest thing ever, and so it's not just objectives, it's computer objectives. And, like, we've got this computer here that tells us all the little things we want to know. It's like, it's a PDA, man! I always wanted a PDA. Had no reason to have one, though. Could have literally just gathered as much dust as my Steam Deck does. Let's see, how do I crouch? There we go. We do eventually get a grenade launcher, but this is like one of the first games where you can actually throw a hand grenade. Sack of hand grenades. Alright, I'll check the chat again. I think it's right here. There we go. Code Veronica. Otherwise, great game, pulled down by unfair difficulty. I agree with that. Yeah, Michael Crichton did Westworld, which was about a theme park where the attractions start killing the patrons. Killed Veronica 10 or 20 times. RE4 400 plus times. Damn. RE4 was the first Resident Evil game I ever completed. I do intend to stream that at some point as well, because I have the Wii version, and the Wii version I think is my favorite version of them all. And yes, this was back around the early 2000s, and so the History Channel actually was history. It didn't have Ice Road Truckers or bullshit like that. Achievements on Retro Achievements. Did some challenge runs. Nice. But yeah, Resident Evil 4, I played it on the, Machine God's Anointed system. Oh, crap. Okay, there we go. On the Machine God's Anointed system, the Nintendo GameCube. It was the first game I ever beat for the GameCube. Back around 07, the GameCube was virtually worthless. You could get them for 20 bucks. And as a, shall we say, poor college student, 20 bucks? I could afford that. I got that game and Super Smash Brothers Melee, I think. And yeah, RE4 is one of my favorite games of all time. Wii version has to be the best though, just because you have that analog control with the Wiimote. The first PC port for that game was utter shit, and the second PC port was a little better. And now it's got a remake itself, which I think makes Ashley less useless. But I do want to play the Wii version though, because, well, the Wii doesn't get as much love as it probably should. Okay, let's save here. Ah, Tales of the Gun. Once it started ramping up, it was... Yeah, see, Westworld is a movie from the 70s, and 70s movies did have that problem where most of the movie was kind of dull, and then just as it ended, that's when the shit would start to happen. Now, of course, Star Wars was a major aversion to this, and likely one of the reasons why Star Wars became so popular. You know, that's one thing that's kind of crazy to think about. Star Wars is a movie from the 70s, 1977, and yet, what do we got? The X-Wing. This is from the 70s, and it comes with the minifigures of Luke, Princess Leia, General Jan Dodonna, and R2-D2. The fact that I didn't even know it, well, I don't know why it even comes with Jan Dodonna. I mean, I'm happy that it does, but I'm glad to have that in my collection. The story behind Jan Dodonna, or General Dodonna, as the box says, is kind of neat. Originally, he was an Imperial, but the Empire decided to kill him off because the evils, and so he was rescued by some rebels, and then made a general. And he was actually a pretty good one, until he was captured at the Battle of Yavin, and then finally, the great character Corran Horn busted him out of space jail.
Initiate scan. Wiring. Acquired. Personnel located. Now exiting base area. Proceed to bunker area. Destroy Strahd logistical train.
And that's just you. You're supposed to do that by yourself. I don't think even the Master Chief could do that. But whatever, you know, this is the 90s. You're just that much of a badass. And that guy shredded me. Yeah, Tales of the Gun. That is how I first started learning about firearms. Well, the in-depth history. Not only did I get a chance to watch that, but I also got to watch some tapes that my grandfather made, because he taped that shit back in the day. It's like, VHS tapes, oh my god, we can like tape programs off the TV. That was a big deal before everything else. Although, I have to say, always have physical backups if you can, because you never know when stuff disappears from streaming, or the streaming services go away, and then, oh, hit it! I almost got it in time. It feels more like a late 80s movie. You know, Alien is an interesting thing of, you gotta remember, that movie is from 1979. It never really had an expanded universe or anything like Star Wars did. It never got nearly as popular as Star Wars did, and yet, we're still talking about it today, and you can still sell Aliens merch, and Alien Isolation, even though that's a 10-year-old game. It's a 10-year-old game. Is based primarily on it, and not anything from later years. Really? Hit it! I hit the wrong F1 key. Hit the wrong function key. Well. Like, they were ahead of their time back then. Star Wars especially, though. I cannot think of any blockbuster that even comes close to what Star Wars did. I mean, you gotta consider, Star Wars introduced so many new concepts, and it was fairly easy to pick up on. Because they didn't waste their time trying to explain the history, or, you know, like, how the X-Wing worked, because none of that mattered. Oh yeah, brain in a jar. I mean, that is definitely a unique enemy. But, like, Star Wars, you've got good guys, you've got bad guys, you got a cool dude, you got awesome ships. It was more about the characters than really laying the groundwork for a universe. And yet, Star Wars is incredibly deep. They knew what they needed to say, and they said it, and they didn't waste their time on extraneous detail. And back in the good old EU days, everything had world building attached to it. I was actually rereading the Essential Guide to Vehicles and Vessels. I actually got an original copy in 1995 of that Essential Guide. And in that Essential Guide, they've got Boba Fett's second ship, Slave 2. That ship appeared for like 2 panels in one comic. 2 panels, 1 comic. Oh my. And it had a whole write-up, all sorts of detail about it, because it mattered. And now we can't even call Boba Fett or Jango Fett's ship Slave One because that might be more racism, I guess. Which is just so sad. Like, when I picked up that X-Wing, I was forced to see a Jango Fett starship being sold, and it doesn't say fire spray. It just says Jango Fett starship, and that's it. It doesn't say Slave One. It's just so sad, so sad. One thing about the fire spray class is that's been part of canon since '95. It's like you can't even call the ships anymore. And you know, not a single person was offended by that ship being called Slave One. And if they were, they really need to get a life. Because, seriously, it's a starship. And besides, Jango Fett was a slave at one point. If you read the Jango Fett comic, oh, what was that called? Jango Fett Open Season, that's what it was. He does get enslaved. And does not have a good time of it. See, that's something that should be in like a TV show. But I guarantee you, people would eat that shit up. Oh my god, the level architecture can actually smash stuff. What a time to be alive. Okay, where is that? Can we move that back away? Yeah, we can. Alright, I'll check the chat real quick. Actually, get me some water. Cable in the classroom disclaimer. This recording can be only used for educational purposes. I'm glad they were never destroyed. Joy Toys. You know, if they released a Lion L. Johnson, I'd get one. Name from Slav or Slavic. Yep. Learn how to enjoy. Everything is taken seriously these days, especially thanks to the Twitterati. Yeah, I watch Mark Felton. Just recently, I saw a Mark Felton video on. Oh, you bastard! You fuck! Well, just recently, I saw a Mark Felton video on Heinrich Himmler. He completely roasted Heinrich Himmler. I mean, like, you consider, you've got, like, one of the most evil human beings on the face of the... Well, he didn't kill nearly as many as a lot of the Soviets, but one of the most evil beings on the planet to have ever lived. You know, and the motherfucker couldn't even do a push-up. That's just sad, you know? In fiction, anytime you got a villain on the level of Heinrich Himmler, you know, they're always like 6 foot tall, they're buff, they can like cut somebody's head off with a sword, you know, they got like a deep voice. Whereas Himmler, a guy who killed several million people, he can't even do a push-up. It's the one, that is like one of the more unrealistic things about 40K. You know, you got Lion L. Johnson fighting like the villain, and the villain's like, you know, 12 foot tall. He's got like his skull's on fire because of his pacts with chaos. And like, in real life, the guy would be like, you know, 5'4" and fat. And bald. He'd look like James Rolfe. The Berserker. That is actually a really nice 3D model. I like those glowing eyes. For some reason, whenever I look at this guy, though, it always looks like he has long gray hair. For some reason, whenever I see the Berserker here, I always think of, like, Beethoven for some reason. If Beethoven was a killer robot. Oh, come on. Just hit the fucking box. Controller is not that bad, but it's not that good either. And this is definitely a Twitch shooter. Come on, blast him. There's also a line of Quake 2 action figures, which was kind of weird. They released like one of the tank, which is one of the heavier enemies in the game, and then one of the I think like a female character, which I don't think actually even appears in the game outside of multiplayer actually. So it's just kind of a strange thing. I kind of wanted to buy them, but I never found them for a price I was willing to pay. I'm just getting blasted. Oh my god. So juicy. So juicy. Okay, let me jump down here. Grab that health, because I'm definitely going to need that. Alright, so I'm about to get to some lava before too long, because, you know, these foul Xenos would just have lava sitting around their base. I mean, who knows why Xenos do what they do. Now, if you want to know what the story is here, basically a race of alien cyborgs called the Strog, or Strogue, however you want to pronounce it. They basically attacked Earth, killed a couple billion people. They were driven off of Earth, and now this is like a, oh crap, no! God damn it, no, hit it! Yeah, it crashed again. I swear, this has never happened to me. And so this is a counterattack by Earth onto Strogos, the Strog home planet. It's a cool concept. I mean, it's an alien invasion sort of thing. The story was kind of fleshed out a little bit in the multiplayer first-person shooter Quake Wars, which I liked. I liked that game. I never played it multiplayer, because you could just play it single player with bots, which is what I did, because I didn't have any friends. Actually, it's kind of sad. I didn't have that many friends pretty much at any time in my life. But the way I look at it is I didn't have any crappy friends, so it's kind of a trade-off. It works out. Because, man, you ever read some of those Reddit posts on, like, problem players in D&D games? It's like, oh my god, life is hard enough as it is. When you're trying to play a game, you got these fucking psychos. That's why I'm glad to just kind of fly under the radar. Save. Why it's a JPEG, I do not know. Alright, we'll crush those bastards, but we're not going to jump down there because I'm lazy. Alright, we'll shoot that. Alright, so, where was I? So yeah, there needs to be better Star Wars media, because even with the Disney canon, there could be some good stories to tell. And Rey leading the new Jedi Order is not one of them. You know, the whole idea of just cutting Luke completely out of the story is not gonna work out well. Got it just in time, because, you know, people wanted to see Luke. People wanted to see the characters they like. But the comics pros, or the... I don't know what a stan is. That's the thing I see a lot, like in thumbnails. The Twitter stans, I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean, but basically the people that are in the actual business of making content just don't seem to get it anymore. Or they probably do get it, but they don't want to get it because they hate the fans. But like, if Disney were smart, and they're not, they would actually bring back the original characters, recast them, since all those actors are old, and just let them have adventures again. Because we saw how popular Season 3 of Picard got. That was what people wanted to see. And here's something that's kind of funny about Season 3 of Picard. I had to do it. I had to go and find what were the actual, you know, people that work in the industry think? What did they think of it? Well, they all hated it, apparently. Because I went to this website called Tor Books. And I did that because back in the day, there were some reviews of Star Trek episodes that were kind of funny, that were actually written by Star Trek writers. Well, these Star Trek writers do in fact hate Picard Season 3. And if you keep up with current politics, you can probably guess why. Does it start with an S? Does it start with an R? Is it masexism? Why, yes it is! Because apparently Star Trek Picard Season 3 is masexism. Now how in the name of Ysmir is Star Trek Picard Season 3... Ah, crap. Demon fish! How is Star Trek Picard in any way sexist? Well, see, here's the thing. These people are psychotic. And, well, in Star Trek Picard Season 3, the character of Beverly Crusher shows up with Picard's son. Now, why is that a problem? Well, if you are a woke psycho, well, that's problematic. I really do recommend reading the write-ups on the Picard Season 3 episodes, because it really goes to show you how nutty these people really are. So, basically, they hate it because Beverly Crusher had a kid. And that's, like, sexist, because she should have just, you know. Because, why did she want a kid in the first place? It's because of heteronormative values. It's like, really? That's what you got from that? And of course they hate the fact that, you know, they got the band back together. They didn't want that. It's like, they actually doubled down on the whole, it was supposed to be a, subversion of expectations to have Captain Picard just be a washed up old man. It's like, what? Why would anyone want to watch that? And unfortunately, we're about to have Indiana Jones get the same exact treatment and basically be a washed up old man while, a hip young character shows up to show him how things really are. And apparently there's been some leaked footage where, oh dear, the hip young character says to Indiana Jones, "Well, you stole from indigenous people." It's like, really? Why? And like, didn't Indiana Jones want to preserve history and prevent other people from stealing things? You know, like Bellic, like literally the first scene we see, Indiana Jones is trying to stop Bellic from stealing a golden idol. We gotta find the cosmic cube, man. Okay, I'll check the chat. Let's see here. Mark Felton is great. RA2 Clarence zombie figure. Grand Rapids Comic Con. I've never been to Michigan. Let's see. You can still earn the badge. Wow. Oh, to get a figurine from the 1990 film Virus. Virus. That's basically Quake 2, the movie. I mean, those things are strong. 37. Still don't have any friends. Yeah, finding friends is not easy. That's for sure. A few trustworthy ones. And yeah, I've never had any toxic friends, thankfully. I've been able to avoid that. Sexist, the movie with the female partner. I've not seen the third movie, but I would be very surprised if it was legit sexist. And yeah, I'm not going to go see the new Indiana Jones movie. I mean, here's the thing. I love 2 of the 3 Indiana Jones movies. I think Temple of Doom was crap. And I stand by that. I will say that Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was god-awful, but in 2008, when I first saw it, I thought it was a good send-off to the series. You know, Indiana Jones, he kept his hat, he had a kid, the kid didn't outdo him, and he got married to Marion. You know, it's like, that was fine. Leave it at that, you know? But they just have to keep pushing. For me, Raiders of the Lost Ark is the best, with The Last Crusade being a very close second. I mean, you've got everything in it. You got Sean Connery, you've got a bunch of really cool action scenes. You got the Zeppelin. I think my favorite scene in all of Indiana Jones does come from The Last Crusade, where Indy's father literally uses birds to take down a ME-109. It's beautiful. It's like, and the birds of the sky shall be my weapons, or something like that. It was just like the most awesome thing ever. Okay, so that opens that, and then that thing will go through there. It's a box puzzle. Toxic narcissist. Yeah, thankfully I never had to deal with that. That's one thing that I am thankful for literally every day, that my family in the past and present has always been the most supportive of people that anyone could ever ask for. It always makes me feel bad whenever I hear, like, YouTubers talking about how their family's like assholes to them. It's like, yeah, I never had to deal with that. It's such a sad thing, really. You know, I may not have had that many friends, may not have had that many girlfriends or anything. Although I gotta say, when it comes to like girlfriends, it's like, oh, thank God I avoided all the insane people. Okay? Because, like, you hear about some of this shit and it's like, oh my God, I think I'll be single. GeneralLotz going his own way, but no, it's like, I gotta say, I'm so glad I was able to avoid all that bad shit. Because, damn. Damn. It's like, people are mental. Okay, I think we gotta grab that thing. The Tesseract! Well, Indiana Jones is, something that wasn't as universal as Star Wars. I would still recommend giving Raiders of the Lost Ark a try. That opening scene is a thing of beauty. I had to watch that just the other day. I might watch it after this stream is over. Because, you know, you got him going in there, you got the music playing. The music's practically a character in and of itself. You know, he grabs the idol, he escapes the falling, the literal rolling stone. And then, you can actually get killed by that box. The box is, like, the Macron, he may be, like, super powerful, he's got, like, a railgun for a head, but no, not that box! Keep you away from that box! But yeah, Indiana Jones does slow down now and again, but, like, when that music starts up with him escaping from the, natives, you know, he jumps on the vine and, go, get it! He jumps on the vine and swings into the water. It's like, it's just awesome. And also, he's a big fan of the Browning High Power. Anyone who's a fan of the High Power has got to be right. Yeah, that scene used to freak me out as a kid. When the Ark melted their faces off. Damn, that was a good movie. Well, I gotta say, the character of Evil Elsa really probably should have not been such a greedy a greedy individual. Because, like, if she'd been smart, she would have survived that. But nope, had to go for the Grail. And also, she worked for socialists, so that's never a good thing either. Okay, we gotta try to jump back up here. So, like, there's been some idiotic rioters rioting, as they normally do. And for some reason, they thought it was a good idea to riot on a, to riot on a subway platform. Now, I've never even been anywhere near a fucking subway, but even I know you probably shouldn't be riding around an electrified rail. It's like, that's literally Darwinian evolution in action. Come on. Come on. This is where the game gets good. You can actually get some Turkish clones of the Browning High Power for about 600 bucks. So the price has definitely gone down in recent years. I think you can also get like a Italian clone of the High Power as well. My recommendation is, of course, to always get a standard hammer versus that weird ring hammer. That way you won't get the hammer bite. So, like, if you want like a legit, like Belgian, beautiful blued high power, okay, then you're gonna be paying the big bucks. Which I thought about doing once, but then realized I liked money more than I did beautiful bluing, and so I went with a much cheaper Argentinian. I remember I was at my local gun shop not too long ago, and they had a very beautiful high power, like it was sexy, but they also wanted $2 grand for that. And I'm sorry, I might be, you know, a big fan of firearms, but I'm not that big a fan that I'm willing to pay $2 grand for a pistol. And can you even really shoot it? I mean, come on, you pay $2 grand for that pistol. Do you want to take it to the range and risk something happening to it? Like, may Yizmir forbid if you drop that thing and it gets all scratched up. It's like, well, that's just $1,000 down the drain. I'd rather get something that's a little cheaper, a little more beat up, so I can at least have fun shooting it. And so I'm a big fan of that Argentinian, because it wasn't that expensive, and it's worth like nothing, because it's actually had some work done to it. Which makes it a good shooter. Not much of an investment, but I doesn't care. Give me health. Ugh. Portland. I do feel bad for some of those people who live in Portland. I'm sure they're not all psychopaths. At least I hope they're not all psychopaths. But man, having to live like that. Every time I go to the store, you know, after reading about stuff like that, you know, I'm like, imagine living in a city where you try to go to the local grocery store and you might have a crazy person attack you. That's just something that is utterly alien to me. And I do feel bad for those people, because not every one of them voted for shit politicians. You think about it though, like, we do live in a pretty major league trust-based society though. It's like, pretty much at any other time in human history, the idea of just having food sitting out and you trust people to pay for that. Obviously that's breaking down in some shithole states, but you get the idea. It's like going to Walmart, you know. They expect you to pay for that and not just walk away. And people do it. That's something that, you know, it is pretty nice to live in a society where you can do that. Okay, oh, there it is. It's like, what am I missing here? But usually the people who actually riot are, well, idiots who have no job or no tie to the community, and that's how they can smash up local businesses. Because they ain't got much of a brain that's working up there. But negativity aside, ladies and gentlemen, okay, when we finish this level, I'm gonna call it a day, because I'm a little tired today. Been working hard on life and other matters. Okay. Actually, I think I'll call it here, because we got a long way to go to get to the exit. So, anyway, I'm GeneralLotz. That was Jedi Knight 2. That's a little bit of Quake 2. Next week, we're going to get back and play some Aliens Infestation. But until then, I would wish y'all a very good Jedi Knight 2, good X-Wings, whatever makes you happy.